And this is the Club 3D Grand Finale here. We have fbps, also known as From Pub Stars. They are taking on INFS, of course, Infused Esports, an organization, a team that we definitely know of. Of course, they're in the NASL event, doing solid so far. fbps, though, a new team onto the scene. They've been making a bit of a splash themselves, obviously, in the finals of this Club 3D tournament. And it wasn't an easy run for them by any means. They had to defeat both Reason Gaming and HANportal.org to actually get here. So, and with that said, a lot is on the line. Again, this is a $1,000 prize pool tournament plus hardware. So the winner going to come out fairly big in that case. The loser, I believe, gets $300 of the prize pool on top of that. So, first things first. So, like I said, I am joined by Phil. How you feeling, Phil?
I'm feeling a little bit better than I have been feeling the past few days. For some reason, I just go from being sick to getting better to back to being sick. So it's a vicious cycle of having a family who doesn't get sick at the same time as you do, and then it just seems to go back and forth. But
yeah,
no, I'm feeling pretty good. Looking forward to this matchup from Pub Stars. They actually just defeated HANportal, as you mentioned, to get here, and who actually beat them in CSN Points Cup number 1 in the grand finals of that little tournament. So. So from Pub Stars, like, in fact, when they played HANportal, they got absolutely stomped out by HANportal in the CSN finals for Points Cup number 1. I actually don't know how they fared against Portal in the last one. I don't know if it was a 1-0 match.
I believe it was a
1-0.
I believe earlier on in this tournament, I think all the way up to the semifinals is a one-game series, but the semis and the finals are actually best of 3. So
okay, well, I mean, definitely, last time we had Fitzky on. During that matchup, he made note that From Pub Stars, they're a European team that's been around the matchmaking scene for quite a while, and it just feels like they, are making the natural adjustment into competitive play. So it is a very difficult jump to make. Even these high-level, high-skill MMR players, jumping into the competitive scene directly can be a little bit daunting. But we'll see how From Pub Stars does here.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what they're about, because I personally have not actually seen them play yet. So it's always fun having a new up-and-coming team onto the scene. And again, getting to this point in a pretty solid tournament definitely means quite a bit. It means that there's something to look into, no doubt, in this team. And kind of what we're talking about there as well. This itself, obviously, the finals, it is the best out of 3. This is being game 1, so at least a minimum of 2, if not a 3-game series, which we all kind of hope for as a spectator value there. So, but INFS, on the other hand, very solid team. We know all about them, really. They're pretty much their A roster here. I think it's safe to say we're looking at Zoinos, New, Fear the Zap, Book, Astanel, and Peter Pandam, of course. So, yeah, looking forward to them. I think it's safe to say that they have to be the favorites coming into this. I just can't see it any other way. But FBPS, again, they have proven, especially in this event, that they're at least a team to reckon with, and look forward to see what they bring. But with that said, the picks are actually underway already. So let's go ahead and talk about the bands, as we always do. As far as the bands are concerned, we are looking at Magebane, Zephyr, excuse me, that's Ophelia. Ophelia, Plague Rider, Torturer, Tundra, Kraken, and Amun-Ra. So looking at the bands right here, a couple of maybe a little bit you can question at least. Obviously, the Magebane for one. Now, Magebane was banned by FPBS. I will say Astanel especially has been playing.
Phenomenal Magebane.
Great Magebane, yes. We saw, I believe, even in the NASL.
Right.
Just recently on top of that, Magebane has been becoming a much more popular hero. So that's kind of that quick explanation for that. Amun-Ra, he's been an up-and-down hero. It seems like some teams still like to use him quite a bit, but other teams, he's kind of died down, especially when he first came onto the scene. So, but banned here in this case actually by INFS, so maybe that's some research they've done there for FPBS is concerned. So what up with the bands here, though, Phil?
Well, as you mentioned, Magebane, very, very dominant hero. It seems in many teams right now. I mean, it's not just Astanel and INFS. It seems like we've seen a lot of teams been using him. Even, Chu having some great success with him or early on in the week when we casted their matchup. I actually believe it was Suns fan and Zenith who casted the matchup, but
yeah,
very, very, he just is a hero, and all these melee heroes in general. We've seen Kronos recently as well. In fact, just in the NASL European rebroadcast, but today we had Loda playing Kronos in the NASL match, and it just goes to show you where the game has really come to. The fact of the matter is, a hero is only limited by its usefulness in any given team makeup at this point. It really has opened up the hero pool for basically whatever you want to do. So as far as the hero bans are concerned, I really expect to see more kind of versatile bans. Of course, there will be bans that are going to go across the board in general. Heroes like Torture, Kraken, Tundra. These are heroes that all are very, very powerful heroes. Yeah, that are going to remain powerful. And the reason for that you're seeing them banned is that they're just good in every lineup. Mm-hmm. It's not you don't have to have any specific lineup around these heroes. They're just great in every single lineup. So nothing really stands out to me. Maybe the Amon-Ra ban, if anything.
Yeah. Again, that Amon-Ra ban, it's not too crazy to see by any means, but just it's something that we haven't seen all too often lately. Now, INFS, I want to go over start going to the picks, of course. They got an interesting right click over there. Now, they've started off with Nymphora, Silhouette, and Magmus. But they're right-clicking that Geomancer. They've been doing so for a while. They just switched the other right-click to Jerizaya, actually. Oh, but they have to trick us out. Okay, so we're not going to see Geomancer. I don't think we've actually seen Geomancer yet, if at all, once at the most, but yet in the
I don't think we've seen it at all, to be quite honest.
Would have been cool to see him, but...
I mean, if we did, it might have been in, like, some obscure game or like some first round match.
Well, he hasn't been off EA too long either, so it's not.
I think it's been about 2 months or so.
Has it been that long? I guess maybe it has. Time just
he was the first one, right? I think he was the first early access hero.
I think you might be right, actually.
I actually don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. It was a while ago.
It's been so long, to be honest, since we had the first. Monkey King, I think, was the first.
That's right. Yeah, Monkey King was the first one. And then Trunken, I think. Yeah, and that's.
Yeah. So there have been a few since then. So you might be right. I guess it has probably only been a few.
Anyways, nonetheless, we don't see him anyway, so really not too much to talk about it. But Valkyrie Jerizaya is actually how they finish. So. Going with an Nymphora, as always, fun to see. Now an important thing to note here: this is a live cast, and the patch just hit today. Remember that? So there were a couple of changes to some heroes. It wasn't major balance patch by any means, but there were some tweaks here and there. Nymphora was one of those heroes that received a tweak. In the case of her ultimate, it's now a 90-second cooldown at level 1. I think it goes to 75 at level 2, and then it goes to 60 seconds at level 3, which is what it used to be at all 3 levels before that. So. It's something to keep in mind. Now, ultimately, I don't think by any means it's going to be something that's going to be like, oh, now we won't even see Nymphora anymore because it's a 90-second cooldown. That's obviously not going to be the case. But it's no secret that she is a very powerful hero on the Han competitive scene, and definitely something has been needed to be done to her in terms of some balancing. And so that's so far at least what they've decided to go with. But overall, despite the disconnects, I like the Legion team over here. Definitely got an aggressive lineup. And Jerizaya is always fun to watch as well.
Well, it has some aggressive potential. Well, most likely, I want to say we'll see the Nymphora Magmus lane because that is a very, very strong lane. But we're looking at the rest of their heroes. I mean, I guess that would leave Jerizaya to go with Valkyrie, and then. Or with Silhouette, and then allow Valkyrie to solo. Like, there's just the way they have their lineup. It has, you have like one strong lane combination, and then 2 good solos, and then a third hero that we usually see solo as well in Jerizaya. So I'm curious to see how their lanes work out for them. But other than that, they do have a really nice team. It's got some great mid game potential as well as a lot of late game. I don't think they'll be looking to end it too quickly, but. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens either, simply based on the hero composition. You can expect for especially Silhouette, Valkyrie, and Jerizaya to probably go, more of a farming route. And with that said, with those kind of heroes, you're definitely looking at more of a 40-plus minute style game than you're looking at a pre-40-minute style of team makeup.
So apparently there was a little bit of mic issues. So obviously I'm doing my best to adjust it the best that I can from what I got over here. So obviously I apologize for that. We did do some testing, but I guess for whatever reason it decided not to go with how we expected it to. So just hang in tight there, guys, and it should be for the better. Oh, you know what? That might be why. For some reason, the boost decided to go on. I apologize for that. Okay, I think I may have fixed it, but again, it's delayed, so unfortunately, probably going to be a little bit down the line right there. So, hopefully, it is better now. There we go. Okay. Anyways, obviously, yeah, so we're sitting in a pause right here. Just going to have to wait this one out. Obviously, that's, as we talk about, with so many replay casts that we've been doing recently from, obviously, the NASL and just in general. It's nice being able to skip through the pauses, but this is what happens when you do a live cast. According to book, they're ready, but Fear the Zap is not even connected. So I don't think he actually realized that, as Peter Pandam quickly corrects him. So, yeah, it looks like Fear the Zap, though, is connecting right now. Of course, on that Infora. And as soon as he's in, I'm sure we'll get this going. Get this going right ahead. So there we go. All right.
All right. Hopefully this sounds better then.
Yeah, again, I apologize, guys. We did actually test. We tested it several times. I wanted to make sure that the sound was good. Again, it's a new setup and everything. So, but for whatever reason, some settings decided to change without my knowledge. But I believe I found out why. The mic boost was actually on and it wasn't supposed to be before. So I just turned that off and I did lower it a little bit in general. So hopefully, again, that is a little bit better and should be good to go. I'll look to make some. After the first game, I'll listen in myself since it is a delay and try to get a better idea of what we're looking at and do the best adjustment. So, all right. But anyways, back to this game. Hopefully for now it's bearable at least, and life can move on. So we are now resuming, and here we go. So yeah, we've already talked about the Legion team though. Let's now hit up on FPBS's side. That's gonna be. I'm just gonna call them for Pub Stars. I just remember to call them that. It's just so annoying saying their tag. So from Pub Stars over here on the Hellborn side, we are looking at Forsaken Archer, Polywog Priest, Andromeda, Pharaoh, and Demented Shaman. So look at their lineup over there. Definitely a powerful one at that. Forsaken Archer has been a hero that's been we've been seeing more and more of, obviously after the balance patch for her, where Ultimate now she doesn't have to channel it no longer, spawning that image. So, yeah, good to see her. It looks like she's going to be paired up with Andromeda. And actually, they were thinking of running a Pharaoh Demented Shaman lane bottom, it looks like, and then having Polywog Priest solo mid. So we're going to have a conventional, really pub-style 2-1-2 setup, almost it looks like here, from Pub Stars. Go figure. Your thoughts on the Hellborn team, though, Phil?
Overall, it's got a lot of great potential, especially when you talk about teamfight potential. Being able to, if you get a really nice ultimate and then mummy walls up with Pharaoh, that's a great way to trap heroes in to the Forsaken Archer ultimate and allow it to go through like that. They just have a really great team overall. Especially, I love the Demented Shaman pickup. Great, having the healing ability, kind of similar to what they have with Nymphora. Only I think a little bit more aggressive because it's just so spammable. The abilities are so spammable.
Yeah.
Other than that, they really just have a great lineup that's going to be surrounded around Forsaken Archer being able to get farm while the rest of the team remains active. And another great thing about Forsaken Archer is that she doesn't, even though she has great late game potential, she doesn't have to go to the late game to still be effective. In fact, with the ultimate change, I would argue that she's very effective in the early to mid game portion of matches now. And I think overall that's going to give them a slight advantage in the picking stages over this Legion team. But again, you got Jeraziah, you got Nymphora, both of them with the turnaround style of heals that we talk about. And Jeraziah's presence in team fights is an absolute, he is a must eliminate here for this Hellborn team.
Yeah, as always. So yeah, now we're going to see the lanes, kind of developing here. And again, this is going to be interesting here. Polywog Priest, expect him to have a very difficult time in this middle lane. And we'll see. I mean, more than likely, we'll see Demented Shaman go middle to support that Polywog Priest. I mean, I guess they could try to lock down the silhouette, but I don't know how well they're going to be able to accomplish that with a Pharaoh Demented Shaman combination necessarily. So, but this Polywog Priest, yeah, I don't expect him to have too good of a time because that Magnus and Nymphora combination, very, very powerful double stun, and definitely some decent burst damage can come out of it. So, Polywog Priest possibly going to have some troubles here in this middle lane here from Pub Stars.
Well, we've seen often Polywog Priest is one of the heroes that that can sometimes manage the 2 versus 1, but he's got to be extremely careful. Early on, it probably won't be too much of an issue, but especially once this Magnus hits level 3 with Nymphora as well, he's really going to need to be careful about his positioning. If he puts himself anywhere near the front of the creep stack, you can definitely expect him to be at least initiated on here by Magnus. So, but yeah, that's basically what's going on in the middle lane. Bottom lane, Silhouette is in her own 2 versus 1 against the Stebena Shaman and Pharaoh. And taking a look at where she's sitting right now, 5-0 Silhouette, up against 6-2 Pharaoh. So not too bad as far as that is concerned. You know, she's kind of hanging in there, trying to make things work. She's been Shaman eating through trees, just looking for, you know, maybe a way to catch.
Middle lane, there we go. Bloodlust kill coming out for the Legion team. I just got the tail end of that. But, you know, it's pretty obvious what happened there. You know, the one stuns in, the other follows up, and the volatile body on top of that. It's just Polywalk Priest has no escape mechanism other than, you know, hex and try to run, but it's going to be, again, it goes back to just going to be very difficult for him in that middle. Already starting.
Yep. So, yeah. But I was talking about Silhouette, but it's, I mean, you know, it's Silhouette. It's going to be difficult for these two to set up a gank on her unless she gets extremely out of position. Yeah. And Stebena Shaman needs to, you know, he needs to try to harass, but the problem is his Silhouette puts out a ton of damage early on, even with only a few levels into the salvo, and he's got to be careful about that. He does have full mana, so and Healing Wave is pretty cost effective for that. In the meantime, however, Hasted Jeremiah coming down here to the bottom lane, and never mind. I thought they might try to set something up. I was
gonna say,
I mean,
level 1 Jeremiah.
He's not the greatest ganker out there.
Yeah,
but you know.
So obviously they just wanted to go with the lane change himself, and you know, picking up a haste rune along the way helps with that. So Jeremiah being played by Peter Pandam, of course, will gladly use that to go down to that bottom lane, and now make it a 2 versus 2 down there. So of course that leaves Valkyrie up top here, who is going up against the Forsaken Archer Andromeda combination. Andromeda, as you would expect, you know, staying off to the side, doing some stacking and whatnot. Polywalk Priest gets dropped off by Magnus once again, but not enough damage, nearly enough damage to actually make something happen right there. And Polywalk Priest is actually going to be more than fine. So Silhouette, you know, with Jeremiah's assists now especially, should be, if his farm wasn't that great already, which I don't even think that was the case, but now expected to start going up even a little bit more. You know, now 14-2 creep score for her, 18-5 for Pharaoh though. So Pharaoh being played by a Limp right here for, of course, from Pubstars, is actually having a pretty good time at that bottom lane. Now, the obvious thing, though, again, is that, you know, it is a Pharaoh, so by all means, good farm on him. It's great and all, but really looking for those levels, as we like to say whenever we have a Pharaoh, get that 6-7 level, and then start being active with it and start setting up ganks as soon as possible. I really think something that the Hellborn team is most certainly, as always, going to need to look to capitalize off of. So, but Silhouette, for the situation, by all means, has a pretty damn good farm. In fact, getting a health or a life tube, excuse me, delivered to her right there. So the sign of a possible sustainer into a Nullstone eventually. For that Silhouette, definitely a popular pickup on her from time to time, so wouldn't be surprised to see that. But Magnus with this hatchet, as we talked about earlier, he is currently actually 24-8. That happens to be the top creep farm in the game. Not shocking with that Polywalk Priest. Now Andromeda has roamed now towards the middle. Whether or not this is a full-time adjustment, I gotta believe it is, especially with the Valkyrie being the solo up top now. So Andromeda being here will be great, but I still think Magnus should get a pretty powerful farm himself.
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily the best move up there. You know, they were doing a pretty decent job of keeping Valkyrie under-farmed, and now with Valkyrie being able to farm up, or being able to just sit in a 1 versus 1 type situation against Forsaken Archer, wherein Valkyrie has an escape mechanism, Forsaken Archer does not. You know, it is, or it could be risky that they made this switch up, because not only does Forsaken Archer not have a level advantage. In fact, you know, Valkyrie has a level advantage, but she doesn't really have like that strong dominating farm to the point to where you can just be like, oh, okay, well, we can leave her alone now. And Polywalk Priest, you know, he's farming around 200 gold per minute in a 2 versus 1 situation with only 1 death at 5 minutes into the game against this lane combo. You know, there's not really too much more you can ask there. It's not like Andromeda moving into this lane is going to net them any kills. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. Well, action pretty slow here early on. You know, of course, we're now coming to the 6-minute mark. Other than that bloodlust kill, there hasn't been too much back and forth between these two teams. You take a look at the GPM chart. As always, that gives you an idea of what we're looking at. By the way, in the middle lane, looks like some initiation was happening right there. But Magnus actually dropping a half-life. Gonna activate the regen. Rudy had bottled up. Goes on Andromeda. Where's the Zeal follow-up from Nymphora? He actually gets Common Sun herself. There goes the Zeal, but just out of range is Andromeda. Wow, that was literally inches, it seemed like, from reaching her, stunning her, and maybe setting up the kill, but she survives. Meanwhile, at this top rune, you see Valkyrie actually throwing out the arrow, blocking it from Polywalk Priest, so Magnus can go bottle it up, and in fact, she's giving the bottle to Nymphora to let her bottle it up, use the last bit of charges. So some good teamwork right there, and eventually I'm sure she'll give it back to this Magnus, then use that double damage route if he chooses to go in. So as you see right there, so yeah, just another very close attempt. So finally some action picking up, but not any actual kills happening. Changing the plus and minus, by the way. There we go. Sorry about that. Thought I had it on there, but now it is fixed for the golden experience for either team. Jarazai was taking a bit of pressure at the bottom lane, but obviously, as you can see for now, he is currently fine. But only fine in that sense because in GPM fine, only 75 gold per minute. Middle lane though, Polywalk Priest once again gets chopped on the volatile paw coming out from Nymphora, and that is enough to set up the kill onto that Polywalk Priest. So there we go again. Andromeda just so happened to not be there, and of course that's when they took the advantage. Magnus stuns in again on Andromeda. You see Andromeda responding with the Comet Aurora combination. By no means any kill attempt, but just to kind of say, get out of my way, bitch. I'm going to react to you. But Magnus, he's getting some crazy farm. Not too often we see a Magnus in a role like this, getting that crazy early farm. But Book is by all means doing that. Currently, how much gold does he have saved up? Around 1,000 gold saved up, actually. So we'll see if he rushes straight towards a portal key, or if he chooses to, finish his steam boots, go into other items before eventually getting that portal key.
Yeah, we'll see. I am definitely intrigued. I think that he'll probably finish Ghost Marchers first. Before deciding to go for the portal key, but who knows? Yeah. These players, they kind of do what they want. I mean, we have seen games with Swindlemel and Sebusco where they play Magnus and they get really super duper farmed up and they just completely take over games, especially with Nymphora. That can really happen a lot. In the meantime, yes, at the top rune, Nymphora gets caught up there. So a nice kill, and Pupstar is on the board now. One is two. Take a look at the stats overall. Very, very even right now, as you would expect it to be. As I said, the laning phase, not really strong for either of these teams as far as, well, besides the Magnus and Nymphora combination. But aside from that, not really anything too strong on the Hellborn team or in the side lanes. So it's more or less just, take the opportunity to get the farm whenever you can. And it seems like both teams are doing a pretty decent job of that. Looking at the GPM tab, the Hellborn team looks a little bit better overall, I think, as far as the spread and who the actual gold is on. But you do have that Magnus, who's currently top farmer in the game, and you always have to remember the silhouette. We've seen, it reminds me of the No-Tail game, 0-7 start with silhouette, and they completely came back and dominated. So definitely not a hero to take lightly.
Yeah, similar to the Soul Steer in that sense. By all means, can definitely get a Soul Start and really recover from it, as you kind of pointed out with that example of the No-Tails being specific. So, not having the greatest start, but would not count him out as being able to recover. But Forsaken Archer is having the better farm compared to that Silhouette. Looking at 258 gold per minute right now herself compared to that 221 on the Silhouettes. Obviously, from Pubstars, that is a good situation for them. Meanwhile, at the top lane, Andromeda, double stun combination onto her. Valkyrie even coming at the last second, throwing in an auto attack. Actually, I don't even think she got one off because she didn't even get credit for the assist. But anyways, easy kill onto Andromeda. I don't think she expected them to be up there by any means. Now, Nymphora, of course, she did port up there as she did hit level 6 recently. And by the way, Magnus bottling up a double damage room, which just spawned right next to him as he was running past the top. So a very good situation for him. But, I mean, we see that Nymphora. So, again, remember, 90-second cooldown at the level 1. Not the biggest change by any means, but it definitely has some effect. Will be up in another 40 seconds or so, and we'll be good to go. So Magnus is going to continue to push the middle lane. We see that he has finished Ghost Marchers, by the way, so that's what he chose to go for. We're kind of talking about that. Wondering if he's going to rush towards that portal key or go for something else, but going the Ghost Marchers in this case. Wants to take advantage of that. As far as other big item pickups, I mean, there really hasn't been too much. Forsaken Archer, by the way, missing the crippling volley right there. going to throw some auto attacks, but you see Valkyrie just playing her ground and throwing some counter auto attacks herself on the creeps as they just continue to go back and forth. I'm sure it's pretty much been that case the whole time at that top lane. So we're getting close to the 11-minute mark, and now remains a 3-1 hero kill advantage in favor of INFS. So again, this isn't an action-packed game by any means. It is unfortunate as a spectator, but hopefully it will start to pick up. And I gotta believe it is going to be. Nymphora, a perfect example right here. She's actually going to port to the top lane. Forsaken Archer hugging that tower though. So they're just probably just going to push this top tower.
And it wasn't far enough into the jungle. So he easily spotted that just from the position he had. You see this ward, by the way. Pretty strange ward to see it on the front end of the tower. You know, typically we see it behind the tower as far as lane wards are concerned. So I don't know what the thought process was behind that. But this top defensive tower is going to take a lot of damage. I wouldn't be surprised if it's completely all the way pushed in. And then Valkyrie begins to move around a little bit. Port's coming in. Invulnerability is used. We'll see the trying to turn around on this. Shaman takes the 1.5 second arrow, but in goes Pharaoh on the ultimate. Magnus stunning out, and that should end the team fight right there. So a little skirmish on the top, but in the meantime, middle lane, Voodoo Ward used by Polywog Priest to push down that middle tower. And, you know, overall, a pretty successful turn of events there for PubStars.
Yeah, from PubStars, that was a pretty good situation for them in the end. So taking out the middle tower, as you mentioned, Polywog Priest, and specifically Polywog Priest, the fact that he's been struggling so much because of that lane setup, but now he's recovered to 247 gold per minute for the time being. Going to head back to base right now, but he went an early Talisman in the Exile and, you know, just want to get those stats. But 1,500 gold saved up. You got to figure a portal key is something he's going to look to invest to. That's going to be a pretty damn... Oh, never mind. He finishes a Ring of Sorcery, so turning that Talisman in the Exile into a Ring of Sorcery, actually. So going to be able to take that advantage there. Also picking up a Mystic Vestments. Now I believe he's pointing to the secondary tower at the bottom lane. Doesn't want to show both Silhouette and Jeraziah that he's coming in. But in case they were going to push Polywog Priest, and actually Pharaoh also coming in to defend it. Speaking of Pharaoh, we've talked so much about Magnus, the successful farm he's had. Pharaoh's basically keeping tied with him. I mean, around that 300 gold per minute mark, he's got an early Helm of the Black Legion. Now I mentioned Pharaoh isn't a big-time hot independent hero, so it's great that he's getting this farm. But ultimately, you know, you really would like to see him start moving around. He did go to that top lane. In fact, going now here at the bottom lane, the Wrath of the Pharaoh used on a Silhouette, but Jeraziah started to help turn this around. In the meantime, Kama stun used on a Jeraziah. They're hugging the tower, though, as they should be. Polywog Priest diving in. Wards are not up yet, though. Silhouette will port out, and he will be fine. Jeraziah going to try to port out. Probably not going to be successful. Nice Kama stun at the last second. Stunning in, preventing the port out, and Jeraziah goes down. The Polywog Priest wards, by the way, they're up, and there they go. They're off cooldown now. Will they use it to finish off the tower? Probably not. They probably just have enough hero damage here to take it out. Now you look at the top lane while that's going on. Obviously, Xoinos knew on that Valkyrie taking out the top tower, as there goes the bottom tower. But with Polywog Priest ward still up, I got to figure this from PubStar's team. They're very likely going to keep pushing down here. Maybe not. Maybe Polywog Priest goes roaming around now and look to set up a gank. But another pretty good fight right there from PubStars.
Yeah, and you know things continue to go in their favor as far as the gold is concerned. But you know you always have to keep in mind, as we talked about, Silhouette. She's only at 240 gold per minute, but she's a hero that can really find farm anywhere. It feels like, or to me it feels like at least. Although okay, that's just their illusion right there. Finishing things off.
Pouring out.
Poured on out. And as for the rest of the team, oh, Magnus. Oh, Magnus. He gets finished up by Magnus. Tongue tie goes out. Will Magnus be able to stun out of there? He should be able to. Look at the steam bath. Oh, he just tries to destroy that last Voodoo Ward shot, but was not successful at it. So he will be taken down right there. And Magnus, you know, who has such a great start, he's still over 300 gold per minute, but you know, that's going to set him off of the I'll pull the a little bit more, or a little bit longer. Meanwhile, in the jungle, you see Jeraziah using the Protective Charm and Soul's Bulwark. I'm not sorry, Soul's Blessing. But he will eventually be caught out by Polywog Priest, and that was that.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate when you see a Jeraziah like that, or just a long ultimate, kind of like similar with like a Hellbringer. We see it from time to time where it's such a big ulti cooldown for team fights. They use it to try to save themselves, or just one person that really isn't, you know, the most important factor. You know, again, I get why he used it there. He thought he could get away. Maybe he thought that support was going to come in, but in the end, we saw it clearly was not going to matter, or just did not matter, and got taken out. Sorry, having a little bit of difficulties there, but I'm back now. In the meantime, though, at the top lane, 2 players going down. Valkyrie out a lot of trouble. Great response here from fbps. Now they're going to take out Valkyrie on top of that. Zoinos New could not leap away as they just completely collapsed at this top lane. So Nymphora, Magnus, and Valkyrie all get taken out. Obviously, Nymphora porting Magnus up here initially, but it did not work out to their favor. You see Silhouette and Jeraziah now. They're pushing out the other lanes, but with that right there, as let me pull the scoreboard back up, from Pupstars, 7-4 hero kill advantage now in their favor. So really,
with a nice golden experience lead right now. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's true.
They are looking like they're in a really, really good position. And we talked about the style of the team that they had at the very beginning, and they're really executing it very well. They have a very gank-oriented type squad, and they are making the best of it. They are walking around, they're wandering around the jungles, they're catching people off guard, they're actually following through and getting the kills. Not only that, but they've gotten a couple of towers already, and the top tower, it will probably be well, I don't know if it'll be the next target, but it definitely, they should continue to keep the pressure up here on the Legion team. Silhouette, she's increasing her farm a little bit. Valkyrie continuing to struggle despite, I believe, well, no, I think Forsaken Archer was up here for a while, but
yeah, that's where
she is continuing to struggle though. You see that she's 2 levels beneath Forsaken Archer. Her farm only 182 gold per minute. Not really making the best of it right there. So as long as From Pupstars continues to play aggressively and look to, I'm not saying you have to end it before the 40-minute mark, 45-minute mark, but as long as they continue to play very aggressively and either force Valkyrie to make a decision on whether or not, hey, I need to stay here and farm while Silhouette's also farming, or, hey, I need to go back and actually participate in team fights, that's when we'll begin to see, if From Pupstars can really take this from a great early game lead into a victory. Yeah,
that's kind of where you do look at INFS's lineup a bit, and how they've been playing it. So with an Nymphora, we tend to see, it's just with an Nymphora in general, we really tend to see a very aggressive action in your face lineup built around here. And maybe they go with that true hard carry. In this case, it would be that Silhouette. So Silhouette would be the sit back and farm. But, to go with a Jeraziah, who isn't the most aggressive hero, isn't the most gotcha potential. Silhouette, by the way, in the meantime, the Soul's Blessing and the Protector Charge coming out. They really want to save Asinel right here. Nice setup for Magnus. The Eruption being channeled, and that's going to be a hell of an eruption right there. Polywalk Priest dropping pass, but what an unbreakable. The 5-second arrow even hitting a Polywalk Priest, but Polywalk Priest is still alive, not for long though. Zoinos finally jumps in, call the Valkyrie going out, and gets the kill right there. Andromeda also picked off. Jeraziah, the only one to die for the Legion team. So that, right as I got finished talking about Jeraziah, he's not the most aggressive hero, but that's why he's picked up right there, because he sure as hell saved Silhouette big time and ended up dying himself, but sometimes it's by all means worth the sacrifice. So well played right there by Peter Pan Dam, getting the save onto Silhouette, being played by Asinel, and turning that fight around 2-1 in favor of INFS.
It's overall been a pretty decent back and forth game, where From Pupstars have been, they've been making a lot of great plays, but we just saw how, a simple mistake can easily reduce a strong lead, where they just had like a 4,000 experience lead, and now it's all the way down to just 500.
Yeah. And
you can see just how, like, the small mistakes in team fights and just better execution from the opposing team can really have an adverse effect on, how much of a lead you really, truly have. I do want to say a great job from Dominic Shaman, at least trying to help, throwing the Unbreakable out, saving Polywalk Priest initially, but unfortunately, you only have one cage that you can throw out until, you couldn't throw it out of both Andromeda and him. And great arrow after the fact by Zoinix New, using the Javelin of Light, landing that on Polywalk Priest, keeping him in the steam bath, which not only, forced the Unbreakable buff to be consumed, but then allowed them to finish him off after.
Oh yeah, he would have lived if that arrow didn't hit 100%. So
oh yeah.
That was a very good arrow from Zoinix New, hitting that in there and setting up the eventual kill. So like I said, just a great turnaround fight again by INFS right there, and they pull within the 2 hero kills. But you were mentioning, the experience, very even out gold, still slight favor for FPBS, but only nearly just getting close around a 3,000 gold lead. But very important thing to note here now, look at Silhouette. Really both Silhouette and Forsaken Archer. Now Forsaken Archer always had the advantage over her, but they're kind of getting dead even now. It's Forsaken a slight advantage, maybe a 10 GPM advantage at this point or so, give and take, but Silhouette, she's sitting around that 300 goal per minute base mark. Sustain her finish. Obviously, Stevie's picked up top lane in the meantime. By the way, Farrell tries to initiate, missing Valkyrie, but it probably won't matter. The wards are down. Valkyrie using the call to Valkyrie, the invis, but it's not going to matter. She eventually drops. Polywog Priest doing a good job getting up here with the haste rune and taking her out. So it seems like from Pubstars, they're doing a lot of team movement throughout this game, and they're going to keep it going here at the top lane, as we can see. A little bit of lag. I don't know if that's on my end of the server, but looks like we're good to go, though. But yeah, they're going to push this top lane. Obviously, the wards are down. They use the kill Valkyrie. Not going to matter in the end, especially in the meantime. The Legion side, they're actually pushing this first tower, but look at this again from Pubstars porting into that middle lane. They want to save it, while Polywog Priest and Forsaken Archer, they actually stand to take out the tower. So very good coordination right there from them again, and making some bigger plays happen. So I must say, it looks like this Hellborn team has the advantage right now.
Yeah. The thing is they have to continue to really wander around. They have to do that because Forsaken Archer, you know, she just has not been participating really too much in team fights. When you look at the GPM tab, you have 3 heroes on the Hellborn side that are basically at the same gold per minute, with Forsaken Archer, Polywog Priest, and Pharaoh. In fact, you see Polywog Priest is swapping with Forsaken Archer there, you know, for the time being. Over on the Legion side, Magma's continuing to get that strong farm. He's had the portal key for a while now. Silhouette doing her thing. Valkyrie up from 175 up to 225, so a nice 50 gold per minute gain that he's had over the past 5 or so minutes. And again, you look at this team, you have to say that the Legion team late game, if they can make it there and are properly farmed, they have the stronger lane.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to just early team fight presence, early ability to gank, and really make big plays happen, it lies solely in what the Hellborn lineup has. And, you know, it's going to come down to them continuing to make those things happen. Otherwise, INFS, they will continue to get that farm. They will continue to do what they need to do to win the game, and in the end, they will win.
Now, I want to kind of address Forsaken Archer here, because obviously she's going to be a very important factor for this Hellborn team, as you kind of suggesting there as we're moving on and looking to get a more of a sooner victory than later. You know, we talked about this earlier. Whenever you're going up against Jeremiah in general, and it's no different this game. I mean, he's going to have a huge impact. The Protective Charm, very powerful tool. Soul's Blessing on top of that. She isn't going for Nullifier Blade, at least just yet. She's actually picked up a Mighty Blade currently, which would lead me to believe, in fact, there we go. She actually just finished a Shrunken Head. So I'm not against that by any means. I mean, the Legion team, they do have it, not only some... the magic damage, I guess, actually isn't as crazy. I mean, both Valkyrie and Silhouette, they're going to start putting out a lot more physical, obviously, as this game goes on into the mid to later game. You know, for CC purposes, it is always a good thing to have, but you do got to wonder if, you know, not going the Nullifier Blade it is going to hurt them. Obviously, I'm sure we'll see in the near future if another fight gets invested into. For the time being, though, they are going to actually go for Congo right now, as the Voodoo Ward's Raven being used. And Congo's dropping fairly fast. Obviously, remember the balance patch receiving some bigger buffs for Congo. Still killable, though. And it looks like our Hellborn team, they are going to get the Congo kill with no disruption from INFS. In fact, I don't see any vision from them other than this ward right here, but that's not going to get them close enough to seeing the Congo bit. And there we go. Token Alive picked up on Polywog Priest. Obviously, too, he's had that portal key for a little bit now as well. So... again, the Hellborn team really working off momentum now. It's just a question, can they capitalize off this early momentum and really and taking advantage of this lead that they currently have with the 6,600 goal lead, the 3,500 experience lead? Because we keep going back to the Silhouette. If they just continue to let her sit back now, she has her Nullstone finished even, she will outcarry this game. I mean, she just does it so often. That on top of Jeremiah supporting her and Nymphora, I mean, you got to figure she will eventually be able to outcarry this game.
Yeah, and an Nullstone pickup is going to be effective in this game, especially between both Polywog Priest, very, very crippling crowd control ability, and Andromeda, you know, helping to protect from both the swap and Comet. So it's a nice smart pickup. It doesn't lend itself too much to damage, but I'm more interested to see what happens with Forsaken Archer's items.
Yeah.
Speaking of item pickups, Pharaoh, he now has the level 1 puzzle box on him to go along with the Helm of the Black Legion. So, you know, going for the more conventional, I think, style of build with Pharaoh as far as how you typically build him against. Well, how you typically build him when you get good farm.
Yeah, I was gonna say more of the if you have solid farm, you go this build.
Right, like because he got Ghost Marchers, or because he got the Helm of Black Legion and the Ghost Marchers, he can use he can look to spend money on things that aren't necessarily so crazy defensive.
Yeah.
Had he been forced to, or had he decided to get the Steam Boots early on, we may have seen him go for a little bit different build. Look, he's trying to escape right here. You see Aurora going out. Not too much follow-up, however. Polywog Priest, he does have a portal key up in 4 seconds, but I don't expect him to go that far out. And in fact, Magnus uses the invisibility room that he had stored up in the bottom. But yeah, so I mean, I do like the Pharaoh puzzle blocks, especially for this game, and I think it's important to to make those kind of decisions, obviously based on what the other team is doing and what kind of lineup they have, other than just going for sake. Oh, I'm gonna go for Barbed Armor now because that's was recommended for me, or that's what I think is a great idea here. But overall, I have no problem with puzzle blocks. It's such a useful item as long as you are able to utilize it correctly.
Yeah, definitely. It's just one of those just very overall good, solid items. By the way, Poke right there on Magnus made a fantastic juke. Just joining the combo stone with that portal key. He just obviously as soon as Andromeda turned when he was running by right there, he figured that he could see her, and it just so happened that they had a Word of Revelation down. But he happened to use the portal key as soon as that combat animation came out. So again, just a very good escape by him. As he survives, obviously you see in the middle lane, looks like Mr. P playing that Forsaken Archer for fbps, takes out that middle tower, and now they're going to push it in a little bit. They're going to push in this middle side. 1,500 gold saved up on Forsaken, by the way, around 1,900 so saved up on Polywog Priest. On the other hand, you look at the Legion side, Valkyrie's up there with around 1,300, but I believe Silhouette just purchased something. Yeah, she purchased a Warhammer, so we'll see what she turns that into. But, Shieldbreaker has just been a very, very popular item in general lately, so wouldn't be surprised to see that by any means picked up by her. But the Hellborn team, they're grouping up right here, looking for an opportunity perhaps to make something happen, but they do have a good solid initiation between Pharaoh and a good follower for Polywog Priest. Now remember, just over 3 minutes remaining on the Token of Life, by the way, for Polywog Priest that he currently has. Nice swap on a Valkyrie right here in the meantime. A great swap there. The tongue tie comes out. The crippling volley. Nice kill coming out. The protector charge applied. And oh my god, what a wrath of the Pharaoh catching Valkyrie. But Valkyrie is still alive. The image is going to be used. Can they actually keep her alive? Yes, they can. Someone else new will live to tell his story another day. In the meantime, Pharaoh running away. Dimension Atomic is healing him up a little bit. But Magnus gets taken out. So actually the Hellborn team will get the upper hand at the end of the fight. But man, oh man, Valkyrie somehow managing to live. That is the power of Jerizai right there, who did also even Soul's Blessing, as we saw. But it was a good setup initially. Obviously, Andromeda on the high ground could see Valkyrie. Valkyrie cannot see them, though. Good swap up there. Polywog Priest follow, but just not enough damage in time. Jerizai being played by Peter. Pandam was able to get there and heal her right up. But they get the tower, so I still think it's safe to say the Hellborn team perhaps coming out on top there.
Yeah, Peter Pan Dam, by the way, 84 gold per minute right now. Look at his creep stats. I mean, he's 12 and 7, hero kills 0, 3 and 2. It's not where you want to be with a hero like Jerizai. You definitely want to have at least somewhat of a presence in the matches, in the team fights. Jerizai, at least in this game, Peter Pan Dam, currently 30 minutes into the game, Little Red Booties and Mystic Vestments, and as well as Pretender's Crown and Minor Totem. And a mana battery, but I mean, you at least want to have like fully upgraded boots, as well as I would assume at least the Ring of Sorcery at this point. But he does not have those, and that does have to feel frustrating to play a hero like that in that kind of style, where he's kind of used to being considered almost like a semi-carry or at least a must-eliminate target. And in these fights, he's not getting nearly the amount of levels that he needs to really be effective. And even though Soul's Blessing level 1 is decent enough right now to stop the enemy team from doing too much, in the future, if he doesn't get at least the level 2 ultimate, I'd say if they catch him out, or anybody else out where he has to be involved in a team fight within, before he's on level 2 ultimate, it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be necessarily as effective as you would.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, for second archer, she has finished that Nullfire Blade, so that's just something else now that Jerizai is going to have to worry about. And You know, again, talking about Jeremiah too, you know, Ring of Sorcery, it just seems like that is such a core item on him, and because of that struggle of farm, not able to get such an item like that, even as really as an initial first item, it is unfortunate for them. But in the end, he still brings, he got the inner light protective charm and that ultimate, of course. Now, by the way, Mighty Dude's right here because Silhouette getting jumped on. The Wrath of the Pharaoh jumping in to follow it up. Can it be enough damage? A trap on Silhouette. Silhouette somehow getting supported once again. In the meantime, Magnus jumps in with the eruption, but Struck activated by Forsaken Archer now, channeling that ultimate, doing a little bit of damage, but not the greatest angle right there. Everyone will be fine. Somehow, everyone is still alive on both sides, but again, from Pubstars, they take out the tower, and they will retreat. So this is all they're doing. They just keep going in, at least getting the tower kill, then they fall back. Obviously, this top secondary tower, the last one remaining now, wouldn't be surprised at all to see them go up there and eventually set it up there on top of it. Forsaken Archer picking up her second level of that Nullifier Blade, by the way, as we saw in the pickups. I'm sure Polywalk Priest, the Staff of the Master, it looks like is going to be finished in the near future for him. So from Pubstars, man, definitely giving us an idea of really who they are in this game and what to expect of them. They're playing, they're very good teamwork. They're playing it very, very well. And INFS, they're behind at this point. They continue to be behind. 10.5 gold disadvantage, 5,300 experience disadvantage. You know, a Silhouette with a shield breaker level 1. But what good does that do if she gets jumped on like she did in the last fight and has to use all her abilities and whatnot to survive?
I mean, aside from that, item pickups are continuing to happen over in the Hellborn team. Polywalk Priest finishing his Staff of the Master. Pharaoh, he now has the level 3 puzzle box, so he's got that to work with. You know, in addition to obviously level 2 Nullifier Blade that you mentioned earlier on. So the Shaman has had the Astrolabe for a long time now, it feels like. And one of the great things about what they're doing here is while they're establishing a dominating gold lead by pushing down the outer towers, they're buying the right type of items to be able to just push into the lane early on without necessarily having to have full creep support or getting a huge pickoff. Obviously, you want to try to get a pickoff. You know, no matter how big or small it really is, you want to try to get a pickoff to make the team fight more in your advantage. But it's just, in this situation, I think that Pubstars is doing exactly what they need to do. Exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, of course. They really are. They're executing it very nicely. And their items are, you know, getting bigger. Now, they just need to keep it up, of course. They can't slow this down because Silhouette, she does continue to still get a very powerful farm at 350 GPM. And, you know, obviously with the Nullstone pickup that she went for it with her first big item pickup on a Silhouette, that on top of the protective charm makes her very, very difficult to deal against. But the Hellborn team still does have a way to, of course, get rid of that Nullstone effect. Now with the Andromeda swap, so if they can use the Andromeda swap and then get the purge off on after that, you know, it takes a little bit of coordination, obviously, but you know, on this tier level of competitive play, you definitely think it's very, very doable. So. Something that we're going to have to watch out for while we're involved in these fights. I believe the last fight, the Nullstone was taken off before the Protective Charm could have even been applied. So it's just that's what it's really going to come down to for the Legion team, on the other hand, where Peter Pan needs to make sure to get that Protective Charm on her going into a fight, so they're forced to use that swap to remove the Nullstone effect if they want to be able to purge off the Protective Charm that she has. So. Kongor, now it looks like the Hellborn team, they're very likely going to wait for a Kongor Resurrection here and going to go for that again. Polywalk Priest, he's got that Staff of the Master with level 2 ward still, but soon to be level 3. And we'll look to try to quickly take that out. You see the Legion side, they do got a ward side right here, which is actually a pretty good place from Peter, away from the Revelation. So should be able to see them do it if they do, but here we go. Initiator from Pharaoh once again, catching Silhouette right there. The heals are coming out. Where's the Protective Charm? Finally applied, but the Nullstone effect is already taken away. Is there no Fire Blade being used? In the meantime, Soul's Blessing goes off. Silhouette just sitting in the background, pounds it at Pharaoh, and Pharaoh will go down. So right now it's a 1-for-0 exchange in the Legion's favor. Make that 1-for-1 as Jeremiah goes down with a nice catch from that double damage Forsaken Archer, by the way. She had that going in there. So I don't think Forsaken Archer actually purged that fight. Maybe it just came off cooldown at the last second, but wasn't able to get it off. But still, 1-for-1, you know, and now they're going to fall back and again attempt that combo, it looks like.
Well, this is the perfect time to do it right here. There's not much of a defense now, more than likely from the team, especially with the Magnet ultimate down. Guess you could get in there and try and do something crazy with a little stun, and maybe they'll get lucky if Condor knocks them down low enough. But
or a porting.
Hitting Congour. There goes Magnus with support. And they're going to try to take out this 5-1 Priest. I'm sorry, N4 just waited way too long right there. They're trying to land the stun. Meanwhile, Flanger turns around using the ultimate. You see the illusion still channeling, but she turns around up putting the auto attacks in. Magnus getting very, very low in the meantime. Andromeda does drop. And now Forsaken Archer being forced back. And this could be a huge team fight here for INFS. Forsaken Archer drops. Down goes Demented Shaman. Polywog Priest trying to survive. Pharaoh, he saw him hook in, but immediately just runs away. Meanwhile, everybody alive for INFS right now. And I would not be surprised if them trying to turn around and take out the Congour here. I mean, it is so low. In fact, 2,000 HP. And yes, they're going to try to do this. So great team fight there from Infs.
Yep, that helps having Nymphora in a case like that. Again, obviously porting up here with Nymphora, getting a good Magma stun off to start that off. And the biggest thing about that was that Forsaken Archer, her shrunken head was still on cooldown from that previous fight. And that really proved to be an impact there in that last fight. So Silhouette came in with that level 3 shield breaker of his, just tore through. And definitely starting to show the damage output of hers. Now she has a token of life herself. So it just goes to show you really how important Congour can be in a back-and-forth game like this. Even when the team has an advantage, such in this case from Pubstars, on the Hellborn side pretty much throughout the whole game, Congour kill happens, or Congour steal happens, I should say, in that case. And all of a sudden, the tides have turned. So now 4,200 experience lead all of a sudden, actually in favor of INFS. They're still down by about 5,000 gold or so, but I gotta think they're starting to like where they're at a lot better now after what happened right there. We're coming up to the 37-minute mark. You know, Forsaken Archer, she still is putting out a good chunk of damage. We'll see what she goes for next year after finishing that level 2. No fire play, but that Silhouette is now starting to get really scary. And kind of Valkyrie, the unsung hero here. Again, being played by Xoinosnu, she's got a Frostbird finish. I mean, she's just been farming. She was struggling early on. We got to that, but she isn't doing great by any means at this point, only around 263, but she has recovered very well, and the farm is showing another 2,100 gold saved up. Very likely a Blessed Orb going to be picked up by her soon. In fact, if she ports back to base and picks it up right now, I wouldn't be surprised, but you know, a Geometer's Bane or Frosted Skull, whichever two she decides to go for, wouldn't be surprised. But you can definitely tell from Pubstars they know that they're kind of their timetable is really getting crunch time now. They need to start making this happen, getting into the base, and keeping that pressure on INFS. So they're at this top lane, but you see right here they're not comfortable at least just yet going in. We'll see if Pharaoh finds that right opportunity to jump in. But look at this, Nymphora and Magnus off to the side. Now he spots him with Torment Soul. In jumps. There goes the Wrath of the Pharaoh. And yes, they get that quick kill on Nymphora right there. Magnus actually going to stun out. But in the meantime, Jerazar protecting charm applied to Silhouette. Now she is trying to run away right here. Soul's Blessing going to go on top of that. But a nice swap from Andromeda. The no-zone effect not on her any longer. Is that me? Are you lagging too?
Yeah, I'm lagging too.
Okay, yeah. So it looks like we are getting some lag issues here big time. Holy crap. Hopefully it's not affecting the stream. At least that much if it is, but yeah, we are clearly getting some. So, looks like it may have cleaned up right there. But Magnus did get picked off, so kind of see the full picture at the end of the fight, but in the end, as you can see, from Pubstars coming out big time on there, and now Silhouette once again coming back out. There's a protective charm applied. I don't believe that. There goes a no fire blade though, taking it off. Can they capitalize off of this? Pharaoh gets caught in the middle. The mummy walls are up. He's somehow still alive. Probably not going to be enough in the end though. No, it will not. So he goes down. And now Demented Shaman falling back. Forsaken Archer, crippling volley right there. Hits a couple of heroes. The chase is on, though. Demented Shaman, he will most likely fall. In fact, there we go. Nymphora, though, gets picked off. And that turnaround chance for fbps is here. Shrunken Head is now ready to go for this Forsaken Archer. Can she use it to turn this around? Going head-to-head with Valkyrie. Jerazai jumping in. Can she get the heal up? No, he cannot. Not coming off cooldown. Not in time. So Jerazai not able to save Valkyrie, but they get the kill on a Forsaken Archer in the end. And I think INFS... They cleaned up. Yeah, having a quad kill for Asino right there. Sorry about the lag, obviously, guys. You know, it's clearly it looks like it's on our side from where we're at right now with our new setup. But anyways, INFS, great stand right there. Now pushing this back in.
Well, you know, with INFS having the last couple of really successful team fights under their belt, more so than from Pubstars, you know, you have to wonder about whether or not from Pubstars is a team that is really reliant on just having those really strong early game strategies, or if they're a team that knows how to buckle down and really make things work and you know, force team fights to be in your favor at all times. Yeah. And I mean that is one of the few things that does separate a high level MMR player from somebody who's been in the competitive scene for a long time. It's about how much how much you not just like are willing to learn, but there's just so many strategies in Han right now, and you have to be able to not only understand and then execute your own, but you have to understand the opponents as well, just by looking at the hero lineups and looking at the items that they're picking up and the way they're running their lanes and stuff like that. And unfortunately for any team coming into this competitive scene, that is one of the very many things you will struggle with. For Bubstars here, doesn't look like it's much of an exception, as here at this point in the game, it just feels like INFS, number one, it's past the 40-minute mark. It feels like they're in their element right now as far as the hero composition is concerned. Number two, they just are such an accomplished team with such great, such great lineup that it doesn't really surprise me. Book initiating your Magnus, deep initiation. Swap out of Andromeda, trying to take an Archer. Archer turns around, begins putting an auto attack on the shoulder. Valkyrie ultimate is used, and you see Magnus just trying to escape. Meanwhile, Polymorph Priest, he gets some auto attacks put in by Silhouette. The Jeremiah ultimate going off, and Forsaken Archer will most likely fall down right here. Tremendous Shaman follows right after that. Polymorph Priest just trying to survive, hanging out towards the north near his wards. Meanwhile, down here, Pharaoh again. He is caught in a really bad spot, actually inside the mummy walls. And just like last time, nobody dying here for the Legion team. Yeah. Meanwhile, 4 go down, and it looks like we'll see the beginning of the base push here. And I would not be surprised to see Jesus come out at this point. They're so far behind from where they were. And obviously you look at the gold, it doesn't seem like it's that much, but the experience is what really matters here. With these heroes, Magnus, level 17, those ultimates that he lands, I mean, those are devastating to heroes like, like Andromeda, like Tremendous Shaman, even Follow on Priest right now, despite having that much HP. No magic reduction. In fact, no magic reduction on anybody except for Andromeda, and then obviously the immunity that you got for Forsaken Archer.
Yeah, and that was just another case, too, in that fight right there, where how powerful that Nullstone Protector Tron combination is going to be. We did see right before Andromeda died, she actually did use her swap on Silhouette to take off the Nullstone effect, but I don't know if Forsaken Archer purged something else, or she purged just before that happened, on accident. I'm not exactly sure, but I did notice as soon as that swap went on cooldown, they tried to make something happen. The Protector Charm was on Silhouette, but the cooldown was on Forsaken Archer for that Nullfire Blade. So, again, with so much going on, it was hard to exactly see what that was used on, but no matter the case.
The Andromeda swap?
The Andromeda swap took off the Nullstone, but the Nullfire Blade from Forsaken Archer was on cooldown. I'm saying I don't know what it was on cooldown from because the Protector Charm was actually on Silhouette.
I'm pretty sure that I could have sworn that I saw Andromeda swap Forsaken Archer out of danger.
Was that what it's for? Okay, maybe that's what it was. Okay. Yeah. And maybe the Nullfire Blade actually just purged the Nullstone effect then. Again, there's just so much going on. Yeah, it's hard to exactly tell what's happening. But, we talked about that. Andromeda swap is the only thing at this point that can remove it to set up that Nullfire Blade. And it really is a lot easier said than done, especially when it's such a chaotic fight like that. So, but going back to the point, we see just how powerful that combination is, especially now with the damage output from Silhouette. And oh, by the way, she just picked up a Savage Mace, so that is not going to help things at all for this Hellborn team. And damage chart, just no shocker there. 22% hero damage done in favor of Silhouette. Valkyrie, too, she just had a good chunk of gold saved up. Yeah, she's got her own Geometers being finished. Another Blessed Ore picked up on her way to now finishing a Frost of Skull. So, you always got to commend teams for hanging in there at least and not giving up at the sign of the first sign of weakness. But at the same time, I think from Pubstars, they had their opportunity. You gave that timetable around that 40-minute mark, perhaps, and it just kind of seems like we hit there, and it seems like, they're just falling apart. And N4, by the way, she's porting in. Oh, this is going to get ugly. They jump on it for Forsaken Archer now. There goes a Sheepstick to follow it up, but it looks like it's going to be fine for now. In the meantime, Pharaoh just gets exploded on by Silhouette. The ward's going to be placed out here, but look at Silhouette. She's focusing that Forsaken Archer. Going to go 1-on-1 with her. The channeling ultimate is put out, so it's just forced her to run away. And with no Protector Charm on her, it's set on Magmas. Now they're chasing this Polywalk Priest. Is it going to be enough for the kill on Heron? Probably. Oh, he tried to Portal Key, but could not get it off in time. And finally, Silhouette and Valkyrie coming in. A hat trick for Rasnell right there. As in the meantime, actually, Peter Van Dam got picked off. So, that was a Puzzle Box minute, I believe? Yeah, it was. So, he dies at least for the Hellborn team's sake. But
I don't think
it's
he was
just,
trying to say pickle right there.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do want to say that it's been, especially for us as casters, and I'm sure for the viewers at home, it's been it started off as kind of a tough game to cast because there just wasn't a whole lot of action going on. By the way, speaking of action going on, Andromeda tries to spot him for thinking Archer, but thinking Archer just not going to matter. Not with that much farm on these heroes, and yeah, GTs are coming out. The vote you can see, it goes out, and there we have it, game over. And INFS, they're going to take this first game, and as I said, it started off really slow between the two teams, but I'd say the last 15 minutes, probably the most action-packed 15 minutes as far as team fighting is concerned that we've seen probably in a little while. It just seemed like once both teams got to a point to where they were comfortable, from PubStars, they realized that they needed to just keep trying to push, and INFS realized that they had the upper hand with team fight at that point.
Yeah.
And they're, at that point it was, kind of, opposites to track type of thing. You had two strategies that were completely different early on, and in the end, INFS they just drove it home.
Yeah, it just a little bit too long there from PubStars to come through and to execute the strategy that they're going after and to eventually push through. Still, impressive performance from them early on, but again, as you kind of mentioned, INFS in the end is too powerful. It was good to see it how the action picked up, at least from a spectator point of view, obviously, as it was really slow start, but it did start to pick up, and at the end, we did have quite a bit of it. So, but in the end, INFS, they take the first game here. But as I stated earlier, this is a best out of 3, guys, so definitely stay tuned. We're going to have that second game coming up. Once again, I was Breaky ZPK, your shoutcasting host. Joining me is Phil the Thrill, the Honcast staff. And as always, stay tuned to Honcast.com for much, much more coverage. Game 2 going to be coming up next. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.